Alright, so today's video is all about BMS boards and LiPo batteries. Not LiPo, lithium in general. I just say LiPos because that's mostly what I deal with. I got a little bit of lithium ions here. Those are all LiPo pouches or lithium ion pouches. I'm not sure what the chemistry exactly. I know they're 12.2 volt max charge. But this BMS handles all these batteries and it's been doing it flawlessly. Same with that BMS, except for I don't like that one as much because it doesn't have any lights showing what cells are being balanced, or even if it's working. That's everybody's main complaint with these. But yeah, my system is fully charged. All with these cheap little solar charge controllers. I'll be upgrading those most likely to where did I put it? Not that one, that's the TriStar. I got I put it somewhere. Just gotta find it. Oh, right there. The Classic. I'll be putting that on the lithium system because I found out they can go up high enough in voltage. I just gotta do some more research before I do that. But anyways, the whole point of this video is I have a lot of people commenting saying these cheap balance chargers, like this one's I think is 30 bucks. For 16S with lights, it shows you which one's balancing. They say, oh, if your pack's way out of balance, I can't keep them balanced and blah 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 and all this stuff. And I've been using this pack with this large inverter. I can get approximately hour and a half to 2 hours runtime on my computers and whatnot. And this is the worst balanced battery I've ever had. This is out of an e-bike. Half these cells are half capacity. Some of them are almost full capacity. But the great thing about this BMS board is it shuts the whole pack down if one cell hits 3 volts, which is great because what this pack is doing is it's top balancing them, and the first pack to hit 3 volts shuts the entire pack off. Then you recharge it all, and you'll see in this video how this BMS board balances, and it balances quite well. And I'm going to go through that in this video. Just got to unplug all the balance leads, and we're going to look at the cells right now on how balanced they are currently. That's off because I have the BMS board unhooked from the balance wires. So we're going to go through that. It's at 58 volts right now, so it's about midway through its charge, or actually closer to 30 or 40% discharge. So next up, that's what we're going to see. Sorry, I can't find my case to hook up the tripod for my GoPro at the moment. I'm just filming with my GoPro. Here are cell voltages on this pack. It's a pretty bad cell balance for the most part. 60, 69, 70. There's one, 56. Yeah, that's pretty terrible. Now let's go. There's that 56. It's a 58. Okay. Now there's one more cell because this is a bigger upgraded board. 3.73. So this one's got a lot more voltage. So now you've seen the imbalance state of this pack. It's not great. I was in the discharge cycle and then I shut it off. And we're going to use this buck converter. I really like these for charging these lithium batteries because you can set it. You can set the amps and everything. It works really well. And these are super cheap as well. Like, I think this is 20 bucks. And so we're going to charge the pack. And on this BMS board, it's got a separate, so that's where you pull your power from, the P negative. And the C negative, that's where you put your charge negative through. And that's how you charge this pack properly. It will charge, I believe, through the P negative, and it will balance, but it won't shut off if it goes too high voltage, where C negative will cut off voltage at too high of a voltage. That's my experience so far with this. Anyways, let's get charging. Alright, we're filming back with the Sony RX Mach 5. Had to use my GoPro because I'm running out of light, and I filled the SD card on this thing, all 64 gigs. We are getting close to full, not full, getting close, and we're going to do a cell check and see how the cells are doing, how closely are they being charged, because I know these have different resistance, because some of them are good, some of them are not so good. And anybody that's doing recycled laptop batteries into like a Powerball type thing, you can get them close, but no matter what, your internal resistances will be a little different. So we're going to see how well this BMS board can do with this small pack. This is a small pack, but their internal resistances are really different. Like, it's pretty bad. Okay, get this tape to stick. I just removed it so I could get the balance leads off. But this pack not only can balance this, it can balance this massive pack. What happened, I did test myself, it was off camera. It took a long time to do the test because, so this pack here, this was all about 0.2 of a volt less than this pack here. So this pack reaches fully charged way before this pack. Now what I did was I did the math and calculated, and I only went to where these would hit 4.25 volts max, and then these would be whatever they were, and I let the BMS do its job. Now we'll put the BMS board on this later, but they're much closer. It's still working on it, but it's much closer to being balanced. So every time this hits float voltage, that's when it does the most balancing. It balances them quite well. I'm very happy with it, actually. So this I didn't know how well this pack would do it, so I put these all up there pretty balanced, and they've stayed pretty balanced. But for this balance board, it actually works. I'm very happy with it. It's a Chinese board, but anyways, let's check these cells and see what's going on. Alright, so I hooked this up in a way to keep the charger going, because I want to get this charged. So we're going to test the cells under charge. So this is the balance leads under charge. So let's see what they are. Come on. There we go. Hope you guys can see this. Total voltage 4.3, 4.03, 4.04. Here's the first few cells. They're pretty close. Here's 09. See, that one's a weaker cell. Dies faster and charges faster. Okay. Let's try the next few. And that's that. Okay, so I just shut the charger off. It's sitting at about 66 volts, around there. It's not fully charged yet, but we are going to check the individual cells again. I use this one with tape so I don't have to hear the beeping so loud. Let's watch these cells. It hasn't started bouncing much yet. It's right about time for it to start bouncing though. A few more volts higher and it starts bouncing. That's all those. They're nice and close to 4 volts. Let's see what this last cell is. .2 volts. So they're all almost the same voltage right now under charge. So we're going to plug this back in. I'm going to continue to charge it until it is completely full. Alright, now we have cell 1 and cell, I can't see it very well, 1 and around 8. I can't see exactly what it is without sticking my face right in front there. Maybe you guys will be able to see it if I zoom in. Anyways, there's your cells balancing. It ends here and starts over here. There's 2 cells it's balancing to keep from overcharging, because we are reaching the max voltage right here that I got this set to, 67.7 volts. Now 67.7 volt is not 100% fully charged. My reliable electric 3000 watt inverter fans just turned on, so that's what you heard there. I'm really enjoying this inverter. So yeah, just keep you guys posted on that. Seems like a solid inverter so far. 67 divided by 16, I am charging to 4.18. 4.1875, that's what I'm charging to. So I'm leaving a little bit of room for error here and there, but if I charge any higher of a voltage than this, what happens is every cell goes into balance mode, and then it's trying to hold the cells from going above 4.2 volts. And I'm not sure at what voltage that this cuts out at. I don't feel like testing that. Maybe if I get a battery pack that I don't really care about, I might test that has super low capacity, but this has decent capacity. It's a very usable pack. I could just throw this into another bike and use it, but that's how it works. It works pretty well. Like when I put my finger across here at these 2 points, I can feel quite a bit of heat being dissipated. I think it balances at 60 milliamps, sorry. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. We're going to check once this hits almost 0 amps coming out, we're going to check the balance again and see what's going on. Obviously we got to let this sit, because even when you shut the charger off, if these are balancing, they'll continue the balance until the voltage hits the right voltage, which is 4.2 volts. That's what I like about this thing. And but as soon as it's close to being done balancing, we're going to check the voltage, because I want to see what the overshoot past 4.2 volts is on these. And the crazy thing is this is one of the BMS boards I thought I fried. I had a wire loose and it flung and hit something, and I saw some smoke for a second, but it only hit for like a millisecond, so it could have damaged it but didn't destroy it completely. So it is operating. That's why I have it on this pack, because this is the pack I care least about. Don't want to destroy it, but I do care least about this pack. Anyways, I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks for watching. As you can see now, as the output amps keep dropping because it has a long wire going to charging this pack, we have now 3 cells being balanced, being kept from going over 4.2 volts. And running a pack like this without one of these BMS boards would let these 3 cells way overshoot the voltage. Especially at 4.2 volts, they climb really quickly. and that's where you get the runaway voltage, and that's when they get hot and they puff. And if they're the old type of lithium polymer batteries, they're very dangerous. When you overcharge them, they can catch fire. All the newer ones that I've tested so far, they do not catch fire. They're almost impossible to make catch fire. I even throw them in the fire. So I've had a very hard time getting any of my LiPo pouches to burst or catch flames. But seeing it, it seems that they're getting a lot safer, but still, you never want to chance it. That's why I like this BMS board. This brand in particular I really like. I'm going to try and put it in the description. If I do not have it there, just remind me and I'll have it there as soon as I see the comment. I am fairly forgetful, but hope this isn't too boring for you guys. I'm just trying to show a good BMS board, one that I've tested tons. I have tons of these BMS boards. I probably have like 20, and these I love. Compared to all the rest, the rest of them all seem to work. All my cells stay balanced, but this one I can see exactly, and I can test the voltage on that cell and see exactly what's going on. The only thing to make this better is to have a screen that goes through all the voltages, just like this, which I could just jumper a wire that goes to one of these. But anyways, alright, until we see some more balance lights turn on, or the amperage drops to 0 or almost 0, see you later. So we're getting really close to the end of the charge of this pack. We now have 4 cells that have resistance put on them to help keep them from going over 4.2 volts. We only have 0.55 of an amp going into this pack. So once that gets to 0.10, that's when I'm going to quit this test, and that'll be very close to 67 volts, and we will test these cells again and see exactly how well this BMS does with this pack. Everything, it all varies a little bit, obviously, with different cells, but that is just this pack. This is my worst balanced pack. If I were to discharge it without a BMS board, one of these cells would end up being discharged 100% and then charged backwards. So it would be terrible. So a cell like this without a BMS board is pretty much 100% unusable because the capacities are so different. So this is the only way that I know of to use these cells. At least use them and charge them 100% to 4.2 volts. Maybe you might be able to figure a way of doing it to 4 volts or 3.9 volts a cell, and then just keep an eye on them. But I don't like to keep an eye on my stuff. I like, there's got to be a foolproof way of just putting a bunch of safeties and then leaving it and not having to always keep an eye on it. I used to do that a lot, keep an eye on everything and not have all the safeties, but now, you know what, you get tired of it, you eventually get lazy, and that's when problems arise, and I don't want that. So that's why I am going with the BMS route, just because it's the lazy man's way of playing with lithium batteries. Alright, as you can see, we're right around the 0.1 of an amp, 0.13, but it's getting late, so I'm not going to wait till it hits exactly 0.1. One of the balancing lights already went off, so that means it's succeeded in balancing that cell and keeping it from going over 4.2 volts. We still have 3 lights on. We are going to take a look at their voltage and what's going on. First of all, we are going to unhook the charger. The charger is now unhooked. Balancing lights are still on, but we're going to quickly unhook the balancer because we want to see exactly what these cells are currently. So here we go. 427. So that was one that was being balanced. That's a high voltage. .423. Okay, now the last cell is this one. 416. Okay, now we're going to plug this back in, and this should continue balancing those other cells until they are balanced. There you go. All the cells that were over 4.2 volts or very close to it are being balanced down. And I can leave this plugged in without being charged, and it will continue to balance those cells. I'm not sure what the cutoff voltage for the charging is, if it's 4.3 or 4.35 volts, but I don't want to take it up there. So I just keep an eye on it, but I do trust it. If it ever had a runaway where this couldn't take care of it, to shut down the cells, I probably will be doing a test in the nearest future. But as you can see, it is still balancing the cells even when not being charged. That's one thing I really like about this BMS. But with that being said, I'm going to leave this until these shut off. They should probably shut off pretty soon. They burn off power actually pretty quickly. And I will show you guys the voltage after that. Alright, so I've now waited another 15 minutes. And in 15 minutes, 2 more lights came off. There's now just the one light on, and that is cell, let's see if I can see this. It says cell 7. So cell 7, I think that's the cell that was at 4.27 volts. And we're going to see what it's at now. We're going to disconnect the balance leads, so this will no longer be balancing, and you'll see exactly what the cell voltage is. Just going to flip my screen so I can see. There we go. Now, this should be 8 to 7, or 1 to 8, depending on what pins I put it in. So 8 is 2, 3. Maybe it was 8. Let's see here. You know what? It could have been 8 because it depends on what side the LED lights are on. So it definitely could have been 8. As you can see, it does a really good job of bleeding off the excess energy to help keep the cells from going overcharged. Okay, so we're going to hook it back up, and it should continue balancing the cells. Immediately, it starts balancing that one cell because it's way different than the rest. So that is, let's see what that voltage is, or which battery. That says battery 7 plus side. So maybe there's a battery 0. So maybe it starts at battery 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh yeah, it does. Interesting. So that's that cell that's at 4.23 volts. That is still bouncing down to less than 4.2 volts, which will not take long. Anyways, thought I'd share this with you guys. So the output voltage of this thing now, I'm just going to move my tripod. So this is the inverter now. Let's get this sitting down. Here's your inverter voltage, 67 volts. And the curious thing is, it dips in voltage just enough to shut the balance light on when I turn the inverter on. As you can see, get both in frame. Balance light turned off, inverter's taking power, shut it back off, balance light turns back on. And it's not hooked up to a charger, so that balancing circuitry works immediately the second it goes over 4.2 volts, which I really like. It does not have to be charging through the charge port. That only is there so that it can cut the voltage off at a certain voltage, 4.3, 4.35, whenever it's the manufacturer decided that it's unsafe to have any lithium voltages. I haven't looked it up yet, but it's got to be right around there. So I really like it, and that is why I do recommend these. I got a few of them. One hooked on my charger wire. There we go. I have one on that battery. I have one on this lithium ion EV battery. These ones are getting ready. I'm processing to put onto the wall. And then the third one I only have 3 right now, unfortunately. I have a bunch more in the mail, is this one. I have a manufacturer that I tried buying these from. I had bad luck. I believe he did not send them. I ended up getting my money back on eBay. And then with that money, I purchased another 5 of these from a separate manufacturer. And hopefully they will be good. I'll put the link from, well, actually the manufacturer that I bought these from no longer carry these. They sold out. So I can't really send you one from a place where I know for sure sends them, that sent me mine. But anyways, reliable electric inverter, working amazing. Both of them. Even the one that first sent me, that wasn't a 3000 watt, only a 2000 watt, still works amazing. It's just, it doesn't output the rate capacity. But I also noticed there's a pot on the inside, and the 48 volt one, they sent me at 110, 112 volts. I cranked it up to 125 volts, and it does output more power. Quite a bit more power. It's more like 2500 watts now. Still not 3000, but it's a lot closer. Where this one is set to about 125 watts, and it puts out the full 3000 watts, no problem, and I really like it. Here, one second. I'm just going to adjust my tripod. I'm holding it all funny. There we go. Much better. Okay. I got my Victron battery monitor hooked up to the poor man's Powerwall, and it works pretty good. The only problem I'm having is the Victron, because the power is always running through the shunt, and then it has to run through the shunt backwards to the same point. And with these BMS boards, they have a separate pull point and a separate charge point. And with that, I can't use this properly without using diodes in the system and all that stuff, where I don't really want to have to use diodes, and unless I can get a really efficient, really big diode for each side, which I probably can, I can't use these separately. I could just use the pull side and have this just use the balance part without the automatic overvoltage cutoff, and then it would work just fine with that. But the only way I'm able to use this right now is my capacity is saying I'm always discharged, because
always taking from the batteries, but the charge, I can't have the charge coming in the same spot. So I have, it just shows me my voltage and what I'm pulling inside, which is good enough for me, at least with this system. Well, I'm going to end up hooking the Victron up to this system with the gel batteries and a charge controller, and I will not have this problem at all. But yeah, that's the update so far. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Thanks for watching.